President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi arrived in Saudi Arabia to participate in the 32nd session of the Arab League Summit, which will be held in Jeddah on Friday. Presidential spokesperson Ahmed Fahmy said that President al-Sisi's speech before the summit would focus on supporting the national state and the Arab unity, as well as the crisis in Sudan. President al-Sisi reiterates that the Palestinian cause would always come on top of the Egyptian priorities. The head of state stresses that Egypt hopes the Syrian return to the Arab League would contribute in solving its crisis. President al-Sisi's participation in the Arab Summit comes within the framework of Egypt's keenness to strengthen and develop relations with the Arab countries and its role in boosting the efforts to advance the mechanisms of joint action and unify the ranks for the benefit of all the Arab peoples. The Arab League Summit aims to promote the Arab interests, especially in light of the successive changes and escalating crises at the regional and the international levels. The Arab League preparatory meetings at a ministerial level conclude in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, in the attendance of Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry. The meeting comes within the preparation framework for the 32nd ordinary meeting of the League on the leaders level, which will be held on Friday. This year's summit will mark the readmittance of Syria into the League after a 12-year suspension. On the sidelines of the meeting, Shoukry met with the Algerian and the Tunisian counterparts, discussing means of boosting relations and exchanging views over a number of regional files of mutual concern, particularly the Sudanese crisis, the Palestinian cause, as well as the developments in Syria. The National Dialogue first sessions discussing the social axis kicked off at Cairo Conference Center with a wide-scale participation of different categories of the society. The social axis will tackle, through two sessions, the financial guardianship that is listed in the agenda of Family and the Social Unity Committee. Meanwhile, the Cultural Committee discusses the file of the national identity during two sessions. Earlier, the National Dialogue discussed some issues of the economic axis regarding social protection programs and means of drafting a tourism plan for Egypt. As part of the current visit to Azerbaijan, Speaker of the House of Representatives Hanafi Gebeli met with the Speaker of Azerbaijan's parliament. During the meeting, Gebeli expressed Egypt's keenness on boosting bilateral relations with Azerbaijan on all levels, especially on the parliamentarian domain. Gebeli reviewed the efforts made by Egypt to remove the hurdles facing the foreign investors. Upon the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Egypt continues to receive the displaced Sudanese citizens through coastal and Arqin border crossings. Egypt's NGOs also continue providing the Sudanese people with all types of support, including logistic and health aid. Earlier, two military planes took off to Port Sudan Airport, loaded with tons of medical aid to alleviate the burdens on the Sudanese people. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli stressed the importance of increasing the benefit from the investment zone in Asaf and benefiting from the components of it as much as possible through quick measures that achieve economic revenue. The Prime Minister's statements came during his tour in Giza Governorate to inspect the ongoing projects, including a craft complex and the tourism resort. The tour started with inspecting the project of developing and the investment zone in Asaf district, as he was briefed on the project's planning. He also inspected one of the workshop figures at the investment zone and the Nile Marina on a space of 230 cubic meters that was established to facilitate transportation through the river path. Madbouli was accompanied by Minister of Local Development Hisham Amna, Giza Governor Ahmed Rashid, and a number of officials. Meanwhile, the Minister of International Cooperation and the Egyptian Governor to the European Bank, Rania Al-Mashat, met with the head of the Saudi energy company, Mohammed Abu Nihan, in Uzbekistan. This comes within the annual meetings of the European Union Bank in Samarkand city. The meeting tackled the company's activities in Egypt, especially in the field of renewable energy and green hydrogen. The meeting also touched on the latest developments of the company's ongoing projects and the role of the international firms in cooperation with the European Union Bank for Reconstruction and Development in boosting the investments. The Saudi company is currently implementing a wind energy plant in the Governorate of Suez, working by 1,100 megawatts. The Central Bank of Egypt, the CBE, decided to keep the interest rates unchanged. The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, decided in the meeting to keep the overnight deposit rate, overnight lending rate, and the rate of the main operation at 18.25%, 19.25%, and 18.75% respectively. The discount rate was also kept at 18.75%. The committee commended that the economic developments following the last MPC meeting were broadly in line with the expectations. Egypt's stock market indices collectively retreated, being affected by the selling operations by the Arab and the foreign investors. The main EGX 30 index lost 0.58%. The small and medium EGX 70 index lost 0.43%. The more expanded EGX 100 index lost 0.15%. The overall transactions and dealings within the session reached £1.6 billion.